In the grim darkness of the far future, there is only war. The Imperium of man, a vast and decaying empire, teeters on the brink of oblivion. Amidst this unending conflict stand the Space Marines, humanity's ultimate warriors. But even among these legendary defenders, some chapters stand apart. Today we delve into the mysteries of the Storm Wardens. These enigmatic warriors, shrouded in secrecy, hail from the storm-racked world of Sacris. Their past is a labyrinth and their motives are unclear. However, one thing is certain, the Storm Wardens are a formidable force. The Storm Wardens are a loyalist Space Marine chapter that adheres to the Codex Astartes. Their genetic origin and foundation remain unknown. They are based on the forbidden world of Sacris, which is located in the Calixis sector of the Segmentum Obscurus. The Storm Wardens are resilient protectors of humanity, frequently stationed at the Empire's frontiers. The Adeptus Terra officially designates Sacris as a forbidden world, located in a remote area of the Drusus Marches subsector in the Calixis sector. However, it was originally a feral world characterized by its elevated moors and somber swampland. The planet is home to archaic, pre-industrial human tribes consisting of warriors who rally around charismatic clan rulers. These tribes engage in constant battles to establish dominance in the planet's murky marshes. The tribes of Sacris adhere to a strict code of honor and firmly believe in the principle that a person's word is their solemn commitment. The tribes revere the Emperor of Mankind as a strict and divine paternal figure who evaluates all individual souls based on their prowess in combat and the integrity of their moral principles. The Sacris civilization has significantly influenced the Storm Wardens as a considerable number of the chapter's neophytes originate from its tribes. Storm Warden Scout Marines often have a woad-painted visage reminiscent of indigenous tribes. Aside from humans, Sacris is also home to a significant population of Abhuman Ogrins. The Storm Wardens believe these Ogrins, located on the planet's southern continent, to be the descendants of Ogrins who owed them a debt of honor due to an old oath they took before the Nemesis incident. Regardless of the veracity of their origins, the Storm Wardens do not exhibit the typical aversion of the Imperium towards Abhumans. They have previously actively engaged in combat with various Astra Militarum regiments, including Ogrins and Ratling contingents. Currently, there are automated Imperial orbiting beacons surrounding Sacris, proclaiming the planet off-limits to any form of transportation or communication with the larger Imperium. These beacons also disseminate rumors suggesting that the planet is harboring a highly contagious and lethal disease. The motive behind this deceit remains unknown, except for the fact that it was Owen Glendwire's last directive in his role as chapter master. Subsequent chapter masters have perpetuated this erroneous quarantine, despite their lack of knowledge of its purpose, or the potential threat Sacris may bring to humanity at large. The Storm Wardens establish and uphold their fortress monastery on High Castle, which is the sole moon of Sacris and possesses an ivory hue. Crenellated Gothic towers, topped with gargoyle-shaped servitors, characterize this magnificent fortress. All Storm Wardens occupy the fortress, which has large halls dedicated to maintaining the chapter's numerous vehicles and war gear. The fortress monastery's hallways display numerous empty banners and profound scars from the Nemesis incident. We will be talking about this in detail later on. The lower halls of High Castle, which encompass both the fortress monastery and the moon of Sacris, are located deep beneath the moon's surface. These halls house automated nano-furnaces that provide the necessary raw materials and physical environment for the chapter to create new weapons and vehicles. The Forge Master is in charge of overseeing this process. Further below lie the stasis chambers, accessible only to the Storm Wardens' dreadnoughts, who are the only ones aware of their exact whereabouts. High Castle is a fortress that appears to be impenetrable, but a significant portion of the stronghold remains inaccessible and unfamiliar, even to the Storm Wardens. The precise age of High Castle is challenging to ascertain. However, the incomplete records retained by the chapter prior to the Nemesis incident indicate that High Castle existed in this region of the galaxy prior to the Angevin Crusade and the subsequent official integration of the Calixis sector into the Imperium of Man. Now, within the boundaries of the Calixis sector, the Storm Wardens concentrate on monitoring the significant warp storms that plague the Halo Stars region. The Storm Wardens protect the frontier worlds from threats posed by Xenos, Chaos Renegades, and heretical recidivists. Due to the Storm Wardens' reclusive disposition, only a minuscule amount of Imperial monuments and documentation commemorate their frequently valiant protection of these planets. We now delve into the formation of a Storm Warden as they depart from their fortress, monastery on Sacris' moon of High Castle and journey to the misty moors and untamed tribes below. There, they conduct a series of games and ritual combats to carefully choose the most formidable and astute warriors to join the Adeptus Astartes. During these trials, aspirants frequently encounter challenges from fen trolls and other perilous indigenous wildlife in the Sacris. They engage in combat in the Misty Moors, which is essentially a hybrid of a running skirmish and a marathon race. The juvenile recruits must traverse areas of noxious swamp gas, maneuver through swarms of leeches, traverse the plains packed with quicksand, and ultimately reach the Storm Warden's designated landing place. After reaching that stage, the surviving recruits participate in activities that involve pitting potential recruits against each other in events that evaluate their raw physical power and skill in combat. Participating in these challenges alone improves a young man's standing within the wild Sacris tribes. Regardless of the outcome, he has challenged himself against the most formidable fighters in a hostile environment, gaining significant admiration. After successfully completing the trials, a number of aspirants bring the Sacris Claymore to High Castle. The Storm Wardens bestow this ancestral weapon as a token of appreciation for the aspirant's determination, and the tribesmen highly value it. Following his death, it is customary to ceremoniously return a Storm Warden's Claymore to his indigenous people on their home planet. Through this means, several blades have gained significant renown and secured a prominent position in the tribe's folklore. The members of the Storm Wardens chapter are renowned for their unwavering determination in the face of insurmountable challenges and their relentless pursuit of testing their abilities against any adversaries they encounter. It is possible that this aspect of their personality is a result of the values ingrained in them prior to their chapter membership, as the warrior clans of the Sacris are known for their formidable and unwavering nature. Some argue that the desire to push their boundaries stems from the Nemesis incident, as the Storm Wardens are uncertain about the identity of their grandfather, whom they should hold in the highest regard. Many chapters are unaware of the identity of their founding Space Marine Legion. It is possible, however, that the Storm Wardens were previously aware of their legion's identity, but circumstances have caused them to lose that information. The Storm Wardens prioritize personal honor and physical prowess in combat above all else, much like the savage tribesmen they enlist. A significant number of Storm Warden Astartes exhibit a preference for engaging in one-on-one battles with enemy commanders as a means to assess their own abilities against the most formidable adversaries. Storm Wardens frequently engage in one-on-one combat with adversaries they deem deserving of the honor. However, several experienced sergeants and captains have met their demise while facing formidable opponents in this manner. As previously mentioned, the Storm Wardens are a highly reclusive chapter that hardly ventures to other planets within the Imperium. Surprisingly, the majority of the Calixis sector is oblivious to the existence of an Adeptus Astartes chapter. Only a select few individuals, such as some Inquisitors and the sector governor, Lord Sector Calixis Marius Hax of Scintilla, are aware of this truth. The Storm Warden's strong commitment to personal honor largely contributes to the chapter's aloof culture. According to several Imperial analysts, these Space Marines prefer to avoid any connection with the numerous unsavory worlds in the surrounding sector in order to maintain their own reputation. Although the Storm Wardens are geographically isolated, they seldom engage in conflicts with other branches of the Imperium, like Space Marine chapters commonly do. Instead, they have frequently supported both the Inquisition and the Astra Militarum in many campaigns and battles throughout the Imperium's history. Observers have seen the Storm Wardens drop pods carrying a squad of 10 Astartes enter the atmosphere of numerous Imperial border worlds in imminent danger from Xenos or Chaos forces. These Astartes are committed to protecting humanity, and they will defeat any enemies of the Emperor. This represents the authentic path of integrity and respect. Although they are formidable warriors on the battlefield, Storm Wardens are equally dedicated to upholding principles of personal integrity and duty. Even their own Space Marines typically perceive Storm Wardens as insular and detached. They tend to keep a considerable distance from the wider Imperium. A Storm Warden is not quick to form friendships, but she highly values and defends those who persist in becoming companions. Within the Storm Wardens, an individual's word is considered sacred, and their commitment to honor is of utmost importance. Prior to engaging in battle, it is customary to devote the evening to carefully devising tactics and strategies, while also fostering a sense of camaraderie among fellow soldiers. A significant number of the most experienced warriors participate in formalized combat contests in order to secure a highly desired position at the forefront of the conflict. The majority of Storm Wardens derive pleasure from engaging in debates and constructing elaborate arguments to bolster their viewpoints. However, certain individuals from outside their group perceive these inclinations as contentious or disobedient. Once they agree on a course of action, a Storm Warden will promptly set aside any argument and proceed with its execution. Storm Wardens possess a proclivity for engaging in debates and have a particular fascination with secrets and enigmas, possibly influenced by their own tumultuous past. This inquisitiveness has prompted numerous chapter warriors to volunteer for Deathwatch. During the commencement of a conflict, the Storm Wardens Astartes engage with tremendous enthusiasm and frequently target an adversary who holds the rank of champion or commander in order to assess their own abilities. The stasis vaults, located in the lowest levels of the fortress monastery, securely store the chapter's principles and beliefs, along with records of its establishment and initial victories in combat. A life that only a few warriors can truly comprehend. Several Storm Warden battle brothers experienced distress over the significant loss of their chapter's heritage, leading to a profound sense of existential sorrow. Chaplains from the chapter actively seek out these troubled comrades, advising them to resume their quest for greatness and confront even more formidable adversaries. Occasionally, the chaplain is responsible for selecting the mission's objective, understanding that its fulfillment will provide the battle brother with relief from his inner spiritual struggles, whether in this life or the afterlife. Now, it is crucial that we cover the Nemesis incident. In the depths of the 36th millennium, during the Age of Apostasy, a peculiar turn of events took place, which is widely believed to be the cause of the chapter's distant and detached demeanor. The Storm Wardens suffered a significant loss of their founding records during the Nemesis incident, which occurred around 945, M36. This event commenced during an inauspicious collaborative operation between the Inquisition and the enslaver infestation in the Sterapes cluster. The Liber Tempest contains the sole information regarding the event, later referred to as the Nemesis Incident. This extensive 77-volume book chronicles the actions of the chapter and the lives of its esteemed heroes during the tumultuous period known as the Age of Apostasy in the late 36th millennium. Chief Librarian Bryn Maxon, who sustained severe physical injuries during the battle and was unable to contribute further to his chapter, penned this powerful book. However, he managed to record his knowledge on parchment before succumbing to his wounds. Maxon was able to delay death for over 12 standard years by reciting the Liber Tempest to his librarius disciples, who diligently transcribed his words. However, the simultaneous creation of many versions of the Liber Tempest caused an almost irreconcilable division within the librarius following Maxon's demise. A close examination revealed significant discrepancies in various key aspects of the texts. The discrepancies were not simply mistakes in copying, rather they were significant enough for Maxon's successor to suspect an external entity intentionally tampering with the transcription process or manipulating the archives at a later time. However, we expect the librarius of a Space Marine chapter to be a very safe and tightly sealed location in the entire galaxy. It is highly unlikely that anything other than supernatural forces could have tampered with Maxon's recorded comments. After finding conflicting reports about the Nemesis incident, the high-ranking members of the Librarius initiated a process to ascertain the veracity of each tale. The circumstances surrounding the tragedy made completing this process extremely difficult. Ultimately, the Storm Wardens Librarium officially recognized a single rendition of Maxon's narrative as the most accurate representation, deeming the remaining versions spurious and securely storing them within its innermost archives. Each of these distinct books was named after the librarian who assembled them, such as the Apocrypha of Europe, the Book of Aenion, and the Liber Esoterica Cadfanius. The Liber Tempest provides a comprehensive account of the catastrophic events that occurred during the Age of Apostasy, as witnessed by the Storm Wardens chapter. In this chaotic era, the Nemesis incident represents a short yet striking episode, and the Liber provides little information about it. We can trace the origins of the catastrophe to the overall increase in warp storm activity that affected the Imperium during the period leading up to and throughout the Age of Apostasy. The trade routes across the whole galaxy were nearly impossible to navigate as the warp was filled with turbulent and chaotic etheric storm fronts. Unfathomable forces inundated the warp channels, annihilating countless war fleets and crusading armies. The Imperium's raw essence permeated many regions, breaking through the fragile barrier of reality and overwhelming established planets or even entire systems. More fortunate ones found themselves completely isolated from the outer world, while the less fortunate found themselves submerged in the terrifying surrealism of the warp. Catastrophic demonic invasions or spontaneous mutations devastated entire societies. Warp storms, in addition to etheric overbleed, genetic mutation, and demonic infiltration, occasionally carry the potential for another, fortunately infrequent, although extremely destructive, peril. Within the warp, there are entities that exist apart from the beings known as demons, as recognized by humanity. Enslavers are a terrifying combination of Xenos and demonic entities that primarily reside in the Imperium but reproduce and expand in real space. Enslavers harness the mental abilities of untrained or dormant psychers, converting their victims' bodies into expansive, swollen, fleshy portals through which the enslavers themselves emerge from the warp. Furthermore, they possess the power to manipulate and control the bodies of their adversaries, converting them into submissive servants who persist in their fight until they succumb to injuries, exposure, or starvation. A second terrifying event marked the Age of Apostasy, the infestation of enslavers. All Liber Tempest versions concur that the chapter belongs to the Serapis cluster, a particular space region. However, this is where the narratives begin to diverge. The Age of Apostasy was a prolonged period of consolidation for the Space Marines, characterized by the replacement of the reasonable decrees of the Senatorum Imperialis with the insane commands of the deranged High Lord Gauge Vandir. Due to their lack of trust in Vandir's statements, most Astartes chapter masters were compelled to carry out their responsibilities without relying on the central authority previously offered by the Council of the High Lords of Terror. Chapters would strategically align their efforts with other chapters or on occasion with the forces of the Inquisition, as long as the warp conditions permitted. However, only a small number of them complied with the orders or requests of High Lord Vandir. Most accounts in the Liber Tempest agree that Owen Glendower, the chapter master of the Storm Wardens, guided his troops to the Serapis cluster after his chief librarian conducted a tarot reading. However, some texts challenge this narrative, implying that the Inquisition or another faction within the Imperium's fragmented structure might have ordered the mission. Upon arriving at the Starapes cluster, the Storm Wardens reportedly found a group of planets completely engulfed by the turbulent energies of the warp. The worlds located on the outskirts of the warp storm had fallen under the control of a massive enslaver plague, the largest ever seen in the segmentum. Chapter Master Glendower faced a challenging choice: to deploy his warriors in a costly battle or to extend mercy to the doomed and enslaved populations by destroying the worlds with exterminatus, employing nucleonic fire. Again, the different narratives of the conflict differ in their depictions of the events that followed. The Liber Esoterica Cadfanius provides a comprehensive account of Glendower and an unidentified Inquisitor Lord as they investigate a sequence of ancient remains spread across multiple planets within the cluster. This is endorsed by Liber Tempest. None of the ruins' accounts provide any indication as to the identity of the extraterrestrial race responsible for their construction. However, all reports consistently characterize the hallways as dark, suffocating, and significantly larger than even the formidable Space Marines. During the excavation of these remains, the Storm Wardens and an allied inquisitorial army faced attacks. Initially, a large group of mentally controlled human puppets confronted them, followed by enslaver behemoths. The chapter master and the first company engaged in a sequence of intense fights against the enslavers, resulting in the unfortunate loss of numerous valiant battle brothers. The Inquisitor Lord eradicated the Xenos from 3 full worlds and subsequently authorized the implementation of the Writ of Exterminatus on 7 other worlds. We took this decisive action to ensure the complete eradication of the enslaver plague within the cluster. Following the Starapes cluster campaign, the Storm Wardens returned to their home planet, Sacris. However, an examination of several texts from the Apocrypha reveals that the first company had indeed reintroduced the corruption to the Calixis sector, despite its complete elimination. According to the Book of Ainion, psychic contamination corrupted certain members of the First Company veterans, a fact only revealed during post-battle purification procedures. The most experienced apothecaries, chaplains, and librarians of the chapter focused their efforts on eliminating this corruption. However, according to Ainion's report, the corruption was deeply rooted and posed a serious danger to the chapter's existence. Initially, the Inquisitor Lord held the belief that infected individuals should voluntarily choose death, but the Storm Warden's high-ranking members vehemently objected to such a harsh penalty, prompting Glendower to propose a compromise. After successfully persuading the Inquisitor Lord of the viability of his plan, the chapter master ordered the placement of himself and the entire First Company in stasis sarcophagi, situated in the deep vaults beneath the chapter's fortress monastery. They would seal these sarcophagi until they found a definitive remedy for the enslaver contamination. The Inquisition imposed a requirement for their agreement, mandating the seclusion of the chapter's homeworld from the larger Imperium and the eradication of all records of the Nemesis incident from the Imperium's historical archives. Only the Storm Wardens are aware of the unfortunate events that occurred during the Starapes cluster campaign, with the exception of the conflicting reports found in the Apocrypha, which only high-ranking officers of the chapter can access. The sealing of the stasis vaults and the isolation of the Sacris resulted in several negative effects. Initially, the First Company securely closed up a significant number of the chapter's most ancient records. As a result, even after thousands of years, the Storm Wardens still lack knowledge regarding numerous aspects of their establishment and early chronicles. Other myths and tales about the event have influenced some of the chapter's most beloved customs. According to one tradition, it is believed that the First Company's lost members will eventually come back, but only when the chapter and the Imperium itself are in grave danger. They completely eradicated or concealed all evidence of their background and the esteemed heritage associated with one of the Primarchs. The Imperium strictly limited the level of interaction between the Storm Warden's homeworld, Sacris, and the rest of the Imperium. The Liber Tempest, the official record of that period, states that concealed stasis vaults housed numerous Storm Wardens, including the chapter master and the entire veteran First Company. The chapter's dreadnoughts serve as protectors of these concealed chambers, and each has sworn an oath of silence, remaining as silent sentinels over these prohibited locations. Following the Nemesis incident, the chapter reconstructed its first company. The esteemed warriors refer to themselves as the Inheritors, entrusted with safeguarding the chapter's reputation until the day their forefathers awaken from their eternal rest. Since then, the Adeptus Mechanicus, as part of an ancient agreement, has provided the Storm Wardens with advanced scanning equipment for their fortress monastery. The chapter's doctrine mandates that its members maintain constant vigilance for any future eventuality and face every obstacle the galaxy presents with honor and stoicism. The Storm Wardens diligently uphold their customs in the present, eagerly seizing any opportunity to demonstrate their worthiness in the eyes of those whom they anticipate will eventually come back, and assess their suitability to stand alongside them in the ultimate conflict against the numerous adversaries of humanity. Until recently, these Astartes were primarily concerned with the significant warp storms that affected the Halostosaphars region of the Segmentum Obscurus, located on the western border of the galaxy. They safeguard Imperial border planets against the predatory activities of Xenos, Chaos Renegades, and Heretics. The Storm Wardens, a highly reclusive chapter, are often unrecognized and unacknowledged for their heroic efforts in defending various worlds. Their fortress monastery on the moon of High Castle, located on their homeworld of Sacris, contains only a few monuments and imperial records that commemorate their extensive list of battle honors. The Storm Wardens maintain a significant level of seclusion from most other institutions in the Imperium. Only a small number of individuals in the ruling classes of the Calixis sector or elsewhere, despite their homeworld's location in the space formerly known as the Calyx Expanse, are aware of their existence. The precise cause for this inclination towards isolationism remains uncertain, but it is presumably a result of both the innate nature of the warrior clans of Sacris, from which the chapter selects its recruits, and the circumstances surrounding the Nemesis incident. Wardmaster Lorgath MacLear has had few interactions with the Inquisition's Ordos Calixis, in contrast to his meetings with Lord Sector Marius Hax, the highest-ranking official of the Administratum in the Calixis sector. Nevertheless, he has collaborated on collective operations with some Inquisitors beyond the Calixian Conclave, including Inquisitor Lord Petrion Borsch. Furthermore, apart from the chapter's homeworld and its primary objective of protecting the northern territories from dangers originating from the Halo zones, the Storm Wardens have also engaged in combat alongside different rogue trader factions. They provided military support, ranging from a small unit to an entire company, in order to spread the Emperor's influence in uncharted and perilous regions. The chapter seems to have a particularly strong connection with the Adeptus Mechanicus. Due to its large number of armored vehicles, Tech Marines adequately support the chapter's forge. However, one could argue that this alone fails to explain the unusually strong bonds. Maybe the solution lies in the depths beneath High Castle's fortress monastery, securely locked within the stasis chambers of the Watchtower. The Storm Wardens adhere closely to the guidelines outlined in the Codex Astartes, with little variation. One of the rare choices they made was to name their chapter master Wardmaster. The Storm Wardens have developed a culture centered on the concept of seeking out the final combat. Warriors that have gained the recognition and admiration of their whole chapter are known as Tempest Blades. The prestigious First Company organizes them into unique veteran squads. Tempest Blade units actively search for formidable adversaries on the battlefield and confront them in hand-to-hand combat, regardless of the likelihood of success. Occasionally, the adversary consists of a group of skilled warriors, in which case the Tempest Blades scatter to engage each opponent separately. On other occasions, when the enemy is extremely large and formidable, the Tempest Blades must unite their strength while allowing no outside help beyond their squad. Occasionally, the highest-ranking Tempest Blade declares that only he can face the enemy, while his other warriors form a circle around the battle to avoid any disruption or influence on the result. However, Tempest Blades surpass veteran squads as they encapsulate a significant portion of the chapter's identity and objectives. Every Tempest Blade inherits the lessons, honor, and frequently the war gear of a specifically identified predecessor. They follow their predecessor's example and carry it forward through their own actions. Therefore, every Tempest Blade is believed to be carrying on the actions of a specific predecessor, and no one may be recognized as a member of this exclusive faction inside the chapter unless they have demonstrated their worthiness to succeed the ancestor whose actions they seek to imitate. Tempest Blades are highly skilled in hand-to-hand combat, bringing the most revered relic weapons and advanced artificer armor to the battlefield. Many individuals wield the large claymore power swords, which serve as symbols of the Sacris warrior clans. Each Storm Warden has experience handling the formidable claymores of Sacris, and numerous individuals strive to master the intricacies of wielding such a massive and lethal weapon. Tempest Blades have mastered the art of wielding formidable weapons and skillfully and elegantly handling massive, heavy implements of devastation. Others wield weapons like thunderhammers, power axes, glaives, or halberds, all of which are clearly classified as two-handed power weapons. Due to the large size of their weapons, the Tempest Blades must rely on their own ability to deflect or evade opposing strikes. Some members of the group have become skilled at using the handles of specific weapons to redirect an enemy strike. Every Tempest Blade aspires to achieve a position in the Lexicon Heroica, a prestigious book upheld by the librarians of the Storm Wardens chapter, which is their ultimate desire. The pages of this extensive collection contain detailed accounts of the heroic achievements and the circumstances surrounding the demise of the most renowned heroes. By studying the chapters and poems within these records, the Tempest Blades uphold and carry on the customs of their forefathers. Each individual examines the actions of a specific legendary character and strives above all else to emulate the behavior and achievements of their predecessor. As a result, the chapter forges a consistent lineage, with examples from thousands of standard years ago propelling its progress. Undoubtedly, the initial editions of the Lexicon Heroica are absent, securely stored beneath the stronghold of the chapter's fortress monastery following the Nemesis incident. External observers have noted a sense of tragedy and fatalism in the Tempest Blades' customs, which is characteristic of the Storm Wardens chapter. Each individual is actively pursuing a mission that will inevitably result in their own demise. The Tempest Blades may argue that the way a warrior dies is what truly characterizes him. The concept holds that a fighter only attains genuine understanding at the point of death, as this is when they discover the boundaries of their own capabilities, and, in doing so, obtain a unique self-awareness that no other warrior can possess. Due to this rationale, the Tempest Blades consider the individuals entombed in the sarcophagus of a dreadnought to be exceptionally sacred. These Astartes have gone to the brink of death, attained the utmost understanding, and returned to combat. For numerous Tempest Blades, achieving such a destiny is considered the utmost realization, and one they eagerly aspire to, as the conclusion of their dedicated devotion. Tempest Blades often take the Apocryphon Oath and join the Deathwatch chapter's long vigil. By doing so, they might anticipate encountering adversaries that no other warrior has encountered before, and they can challenge themselves with really distinctive trials. A Tempest Blade, a member of the Deathwatch, creates his own remarkable story, surpassing the customs of his ancestors, with the goal of having his accomplishments examined by future generations and his name documented in the revered pages of the Lexicon Heroica. At present, Lorgath MacLear, a shrewd strategist, leads the chapter. He consistently presents his captains with tactical exercises and diligently reads the Tactica Imperialis. Rumors claim that Lorgath has successfully committed these principles of warfare to memory, a remarkable accomplishment for a space marine with genetically enhanced memory. And that's the end of the video. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this exploration of the Storm Wardens, be sure to like and subscribe for more dives into the lore of Warhammer 40K. Please let us know in the comments what other content you would also like.